What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well on this Wednesday. Quick reminder that I will be streaming on the Bleacher Report tonight. Download the app and check the community tab for the link to the show. And we'll probably be talking about some of this free agency stuff. We'll be talking about some of the new coaches. Should be a fun show. Just going to be like half an hour or so. So get ready for it. Remember, download the app on your phone. It's the only way to access it. We're going to talk more about guards in this video. We're talking about left guards. But now we've kind of gone past the realm of starters, right? Those guys we talked about in the previous two videos, those are the guys I think you signed to start. Now we have a collection of guys, and it's a pretty good list, but it's a collection of guys who, if you sign to start, you are probably repeating the mistakes of last year when you tried to get away with a very cheap Laken Tomlinson signing, and by some definition, I guess it worked. He played the whole season. He wasn't atrocious, but he wasn't good either. And you got what you paid for. So if you get any of these guys in this video as your starter in 2025, you're probably doing the same thing again, and you're probably going to get the same result. Good news is the Seahawks also need a backup left guard, right? Like, they literally don't have one right now, as near as I can tell. They'd have to move somebody. So signing these guys on this level would not be a bad thing as long as you're signing them for cheap and you're signing them to fill a backup role. So let's take a look at some options on this tier, sorted by the market value approximation on the Spotrac page. First guy is going to be Ben Barshk, probably mispronouncing that, fourth round pick of Jacksonville in 2020. Spent the last couple of years, well, really last year and a half or so, on the 49ers. And he hasn't played a lot in his career. Last time he played a majority of the starts was 2021 at right guard. But he has played some, and he's mostly played left guard recently. So Ben Barks last year played 65 snaps. It's not a lot, but he was graded quite well in all areas that a guard is graded in. And it was all at left guard, so okay, little something. 2023, they graded him out okay, about average, workable, decent, functional. This was across Jacksonville and San Fran, by the way. 240 snaps, a little bit more, almost all of it at left guard. That's not bad. Okay, we got a little something here. And then you go back to 2022, they thought he was about average, again, workable, 60.5, almost 300 snaps, all of it at left guard. Pretty good. You got some here. What you have is a quality backup. You have somebody that can fill in for injured players in the season. I think it would be a mistake to view Ben Barsk as anything more than that, but I guess I could see a team talking themselves into it. It's time to give this guy his shot. Time to bring him in, get him cheap, let him start for a year, see what's up. Maybe he can do it full time because he did it part time. You go to Spotrac, they have 1 year, 2.4 million. I mean, that's good backup money, right? You signed this guy as your veteran backup. You did pretty well for yourself. You sign him as your starter, you're playing with fire. Now, sometimes you play with fire and you create something beautiful, but I'm kind of tired of playing with fire at this spot. That's what we did last year. Now, this would be better than last year because this guy's younger and he's a little bit more mobile and agile, but it's the same idea of betting low and hoping you win the lottery. Another guy would be Brady Christensen, third round pick several years ago by the Panthers. So I remember when this guy was in the draft, I remember looking at him a little bit, scouting him out a little bit. He's not played a ton of football the last couple years, but he did start every game in 2022. So he does have some starting experience. At this point, however, it's pretty clear that the NFL should not view him as a surefire starter. Remember, the Panthers paid a ton of money to guards last offseason, partially because they didn't believe that Brady Christensen could be trusted as a starter. So you look at Pro Football Focus, last year they thought he played okay. They thought it was about average, workable, functional. Only 400 snaps, though, and most of it was at center. Some of it was at left tackle, a little bit at tight end, none at left guard. So he was not a left guard last year in any capacity. And while some of the numbers are decent, he did give up quite a bit of pressure for whatever that's worth. 0 sacks, but 14 pressure and 225 snaps is it's okay, but he's playing center mostly. It should be better than that. 2023, the grade was slightly below average, functional, I guess. Only 77 snaps, so we're not going to take a lot from this. All at left guard for whatever that's worth, but I think he only played one game this year and then he got hurt. And then 2022, which was the year he played a lot, almost 1,000 snaps, he was among the league leaders in penalties, but his play was not too bad. He was actually ranked pretty good as far as pass blocking goes, run blocking less so, but the grade was about average, workable, and 17 pressures is not a bad number at all, and all of his snaps came at left guard. So this is what you hope you're getting with Brady Christensen, but after what he's done the last 2 years, I don't know if you can bet any significant amount of money on it. I think that at this point, he is a backup. Botrack has him getting paid like a backup, 1 year, $2.3 million, basically 2.25. That's what you would pay a decent backup. He also has some positional flexibility. I would probably do this, but again, I think that if you bet on him being able to be a decent starter in this league, you're playing with fire. And we just don't need to do that right now. And if I guess this would be better than Laken Tomlinson, but it's the same basic idea on a fundamental level, even if the particulars are different. Lucas Patrick. Lucas Patrick, this would be kind of a more one-to-one comparison to Tomlinson last year, okay? So, Lucas Patrick did play for the Saints last year, so there might be a little bit of interest just because of the Kubiak factor, so definitely keep an eye on this one. Started 10 games for the Saints last year. The year before that, he was on the Bears, spent some time with the Packers. So, been bouncing around a little bit, looking for a new home in 2025 in all likelihood. Only really going to look at the most recent season because that was the year he played at left guard. He played decently according to Pro Football Focus. They graded him out fairly well, 64.6. Played a decent amount, a lot of penalties, no sacks allowed, not a lot of pressure allowed. So, looks like he played fairly decently. Not hating anything I see here. But the thing is, he just turned 31 and he's going to turn 32 in July. So age is becoming a concern here. I don't think you want to assume that Lucas Patrick is going to stay where he is or get better. He's probably going to get worse going forward because that's what players do when they get older. Now, Spotrac does have a page for him. 1 year, $2 million. A little bit less, but call it 1 year, $2 million. And again, I think that the players on this level are probably, Spotrac's probably on the level with these guys. Unless they get signed specifically to start, then they can usually negotiate for a little bit more money. So Lucas Patrick, 1 year, $2 million, sign him as a veteran backup. I think that's probably pretty good. I think that you've made your team better. But if you sign him as a starter, you are repeating the Laken Tomlinson mistake, in my estimation. And there's really, again, it can work, it can pay off, but you can win the lottery too. I don't think it's the right decision to make. You would have to spend very heavily at center and right guard to try to offset having a mediocre left guard to really get away with it, and I think that's backwards. I think you want to spend heavily at left guard and then maybe go a little bit cheaper at center and then go way cheaper at right guard. To me, that's the way. If you're going to go that way, that's the smarter way. Okay, one last guy for this video, Cody Whitehair. This is another Laken Tomlinson redux. This guy's been in the league for almost a decade, quite old, gonna turn 33 before the season starts. It's the same basic idea. This guy's been in the league quite a while. He's made the Pro Bowl before. He's been a very good player. He's played a lot of left guard, but he's not all that anymore. It's been a while since he's been even, I think, a decent player in this league. And if you sign him as a starter, you're probably going to be very disappointed in what you get. So this is even more of a Laken Tomlinson than Lucas Patrick, I think. You look at Pro Football Focus, they thought he was terrible last year. Not even a 45. Run blocking particularly bad. He didn't play a ton, and what he did play, he almost played exclusively at left guard, but 9 pressures on 158 pass block snaps. That's pretty rough. And that's not even the worst part of his game, according to PFF. So, yeah, there's nothing you like to see here. Year before that, he played a lot, and his grade was still terrible. Didn't allow a lot of sacks, I guess, and he didn't have a lot of penalties. And again, the pressure count is not all that bad. But what this is telling you is that there's stuff going on beyond just the raw numbers that is making Cody Whitehair a bad player. So I'm not saying we can completely trust Pro Football Focus, but even if we don't, let's remember that Cody Whitehair is going to be 33 in July by the time the season starts. So we're looking at a player who is almost certainly going to get worse, probably significantly worse. This is the point in your career where things come very quickly. So even if we do say, hey, the objective numbers are not that bad here, he didn't commit a lot of penalties, didn't give up that high of a pressure rate, we're still not excited about anything we see here. The last time his grade was good from Pro Football Focus was 2022. This was back with the Bears. He did play at left guard, but he did miss a good chunk of the season, so injuries becoming a problem. His total pressure allowed count per pass blocking snaps played is good. No penalties, so he was good in 2022. I don't think that means anything now. I think that this is probably just the last good year of an aging player, and the last 2 years we've seen that he's not really getting it done at that high of a level anymore. I guess you could go to last year and say, hey, the pass blocking grade is okay, but he didn't play that much. So you sign him as your backup, your veteran backup, sure. You have to have somebody to be the backup, and you know it's not going to be a great player. At least this guy has a little bit of positional flexibility. At least this guy has seen everything, but you can't really spend much on it. So Spotrac has $1.9 million for 1 year. I don't even know if he's going to get that. I think that this could be a vet min guy at this point because he's played so bad the last 2 years. But those would be my first set of options for the left guard spot. Let me know what you guys think about it. Do any of these guys stand out to you as a good reserve? Do you like any of them maybe as a starter even? Again, you're taking a risk, but sometimes you do take risks. I just don't think this is where you take a risk. You take a risk with right guard if you're going to take a risk. You take risks at maybe safety. Take risks at nose tackle. Not at left guard, which has become a very important position to get right. All right. More videos coming soon. We're not done. We're not even close to being done. I'll see you guys later today. Go Hawks. See y'all soon.